Welcome everyone, I am Dr. Shambhu Yadav, a neuroscientist and a stress biologist at Harvard. So have you ever wondered how to make learning easier and faster? What if you could rewire your brain to make studying feel effortless and remembering information easy? Well, the key of the mastering this lies in understanding how your brain truly learns. So in this video, I am going to share powerful science-backed strategy that will not only boost your memory but completely change the way you approach learning. Whether you are aiming for exam, learning a new skill, or enhance your daily habit, this neuroscience-based technique will help you learn smarter and retain more. So let's dive in. The human brain is an incredible machine designed to learn. Every moment, it's adapting, evolving, and rewiring itself in a process known as neuroplasticity. Essentially, every time you learn something new, your brain creates new connections and strengthens the ones already placed. But the learning is not just about passively soaking up information. It's a complex process that involves how your brain processes, stores, and retrieves that information. Picture yourself, your brain as a vast library. When you learn something new, you are not just collecting books and throwing them into the random shelves. You are organizing those books, cross-referencing them, and creating the system to make sure you can find the right information when you need it. And this is where the repetition, reinforcement, and the emotional engagement come into the play. The more you revisit what you have learned, the stronger those neuronal connection becomes, and the easier to recall the information. One crucial aspect of the learning is emotion. When something stirs you emotionally, your brain tends to pay more attention to it. And that's why you can remember the lyrics to a song you love, or the details of a story that moved you deeply. So emotion ties with the memory in every real way. On the flip side, the stress plays a more complex role. A little stress can actually enhance the focus, pushing you to perform better and learn more effectively. But too much stress? Well, that's when things go sideways. Excessive stress can impair memory and make it difficult for you or your brain to process information properly. So what does all of this mean for how we learn? The learning is not just about what you do, it's also about what is happening inside your brain. And when you understand this, you can start applying more effective strategy to improve how you absorb and retain information. So rather than the simply memorizing facts, you are shaping and rewiring your brain for greater effectiveness and the ease. Now let's break down some science-backed strategy that will help you to take advantage of your brain's natural learning processes. First, let's talk about the idea of spacing. You have all heard that the cramming for exam does not work. But why is it that? Well, when you cram, your brain does not have enough time to process and consolidate the new information. But when you space out your learning over a few days or weeks, your brain has the opportunity to revisit that material and strengthen those neuronal connections. Think of it like the weight training. The more consistently you work at muscles, the stronger it gets. So similarly, by revisiting material over time, you build a stronger neuronal connection. One way to implement this is by using space repetition techniques. And this strategy involves reviewing material at increasing interval. First after a day, then a few days later, and then so on. You are essentially giving your brain time to organize and store the information. The more you space out your review session, the better your brain can retain and recall that information. Another powerful technique is chunking. The chunking refers to the process of breaking down complex information into the smaller one. So more manageable unit, like for example, memorizing a phone number is much easier when you break it into the chunk, like 1 2 3 dash 4 5 6 dash 7 8 9 0, rather than trying to remember a long string of the number. So the same principle applies when you are trying to learn something new. By breaking down a larger concept into a smaller, more digestible pieces, you are giving your brain the structure it loves. It creates the mental map, allowing you to make connection more easily and recall information when needed. Now let's talk about the active recall. So one of the most active strategy for the boosting retention. Instead of the passively reading your notes, stop and actively test yourself. What can you remember without looking at your notes? So the active recall forces your brain to retrieve information which strengthens those neuronal pathways. While it might feel harder than just reading over your notes again, it's exactly the point. When your brain has to work a little harder to recall the information, it becomes stronger and more efficient to storing and retrieving it. Now let's not forget about the sleep. It's easy to think of the sleep as the rest, but it also so much more than that when it comes to the learning. During the deep sleep, your brain consolidates the information you have absorbed throughout the day. It organizes memory, strengthens connections, and stores them for the later use. And this is why the pulling an all-nighter to cram for a test is actually counterproductive. A good night's sleep is far more valuable for your memory retention than hours of late night study. In addition to sleep, the movement that play a surprising significant role in learning. Physical activity can help wake up your brain, improve circulation, and clear mental fog. A quick walk, some light exercise, or even the stretching can release chemicals in your brain that improve memory formation and retention. So even short bursts of the physical activity can help reset your focus, allowing you to return to learning with renewed clarity and energy. So your brain also thrives when you work with the natural rhythm. No one can focus for hours at a time without a break. It's simply not sustainable. Instead, take a short break to recharge. The Pomodoro technique, which I have already mentioned in many previous videos, that suggests working in focus interval, typically like 25 minutes for the work followed by 5-minute break. And after a few cycles, take a longer break, and these breaks help you brain process that you have learned and return to the task with a fresh perspective. But let's be honest, the learning does not always come easy. Procrastination is one of the most common challenges people face when it comes to studying or learning new skill. So why do we procrastinate? It all comes down to how our brain responds to tasks. The brain craves immediate rewards, and which make it easier to put off something that feels overwhelming, boring, or difficult. One way to tackle the procrastination is to break down a large task into a smaller, more manageable chunk. And instead of thinking, I need to study for 3 hours, start by telling yourself, I will study for just 10 minutes. And once you begin, the momentum usually builds and you will find it easier to keep going. So the mental fatigue is another common challenge. After a long day of the studying or learning something new, it can feel like your brain is just overloaded. And that's because it is. Your brain has limit, and when it reach their limit, learning becomes much harder. It's important to recognize when your brain is tired and need a break. So eating food rich in omega-3 fatty acid, antioxidant and protein can help fuel your brain and keep your brain sharp. So studying the hydrated is another key factor. Drinking water throughout the day keep your brain functioning at the best, while a quick snack can give you an energy boost. It's also important to recognize how distraction that impact your ability to learn. With the constant barrage of the notification and temptation to check social media, it's easy to lose your focus. But there are ways to combat this, like create a dedicated learning environment where distractions are minimized. Silence your phone, use apps that block distraction website, or even try to noise cancelling headphones. Setting off your space so it's conducive to concentration will help your brain stay focused on the task at hand. It's also crucial to embrace the importance of taking breaks. Like when your brain feels overloaded, pushing through it can lead to burnout and decreased productivity. So stepping away from your work for few minutes can help your brain organize and consolidate the information you have learned or you have absorbed. And this does not mean giving up. It means giving your brain the rest so it needs to function optimally. So rest is not just a luxury, it's a vital part of the learning process. And the building sustainable learning habit is all about the consistency. The neuroscience shows that the habits are pattern where your brain wire over time. To make learning a habit, create a consistent routine. It does not have to be long or intense. Even the 20 minutes of focus study can be incredibly effective when done regularly. The key is to set aside a specific time each day for learning and creating a predictable cue that help your brain anticipate the activity. And once you have started, make sure the routine is manageable. Don't pressure yourself to study for hours at a time. When you finish a learning session, reward yourself. This could be as simple as acknowledging your progress or enjoying a small treat. Rewarding reinforces the behavior, signaling to your brain that it's worth repeating. And the celebrating small wins along the way. Finish a chapter, learn a new skill. Recognizing those accomplishments, no matter how small they seem to be. The brain releases the dopamine in response to this moment of achievement and reinforcing the habit and the making want to keep going. So tracking your progress can also be a huge motivator, whether it's through a journal, an app, or checklist. These have a visible record for your learning journey, show you how far you have come. And this visual evidence of success builds confidence and motivate you to contribute, pushing forward. Remember, habit is take time. It's completely normal to miss a day or lose a momentum. Don't be too hard on yourself. The goal is not perfection, it's a consistency. It's a patience, repetition, and self-compassion. Your learning habit will become ingrained in your routine, making learning a seamless part of your life. So in conclusion, the learning is not just about the absorbing information, it's about the understanding how your brain works and using that knowledge to your advantage. Whether you are applying a strategy like space repetition, taking active break, or getting enough sleep, the aim is to create an environment where your brain can thrive. And these tools are not one size fit all. So experiment with them, see what works best for you, and build on that. So the learning is a journey, it's not a race. So a small consistent step lead to big changes over time. Celebrate every bit of progress and stay curious. So thank you for the watching, and see you in the next video.